Now we will understand the equilibrium of body. The body is said to be in equilibrium, or the system is said to be in equilibrium if it is not accelerating. It is not accelerating, that means the net external force on it is zero. So force acting on the system along all the direction is zero. So summation fx is equals to summation fy is equals to summation fz is equals to 0. For the equilibrium of a particle, there is one theorem called Lami's theorem. It says that if this point P is at equilibrium under the action of three coplanar concurrent forces, the meaning of coplanar is they are in same plane, and meaning of concurrent is they are acting at same point. So if three concurrent coplanar forces are acting at a point, and under the action of those forces, if this point is at equilibrium, then we can write that F1 upon sine alpha is equals to F2 upon sine beta is equals to F3 upon sine gamma. That means force divided by sine of the opposite angle. Here the opposite angle of the force F1 is alpha, opposite angle of force F2 is beta, and opposite angle of force F3 is gamma. Let us see one example on that. An object of mass 10 kg is tied with a string. The string is fixed at a rigid support. Now a horizontal force F is applied on this object. When this string makes an angle of 30 degrees with vertical, this whole system or this object is in equilibrium. We want to find the tension force in the string. Here it is by default assumed that this string is massless. So the tension at every point will be same. So we will use Lami's theorem because this object is in equilibrium. The force acting on object in downward direction is gravitational force, that is equal to 100 Newton. If this angle is 30 degree, then angle with vertical will also be 30 degree. So this total angle with the horizontal will be 90 plus 30, that is equal to 120 degree. So if we use Lami's theorem, the force 100 Newton divided by its opposite angle, the opposite angle is 120 degree. So sine 90 plus 30 degree is equals to this tension force T divided by the opposite angle is 90 degree, so sine 90 degree. From this we can write tension force is equals to 100 divided by sine 90 plus 30 degree is cos 30, so cos 30 degree. So 100 divided by root 3 by 2, so tension force will be 200 by root 3 Newton. One important point about the tension in the string is, for the ideal cases, the string is always considered massless. For the massless string, the tension on every point on the string is same. But if we consider a rope, then what will happen in that case? Let us see. There is one rope of mass m and length L. The mass has uniform mass density. That means mass is equally distributed throughout its length. It is fixed at one of its ends and it is hung vertically. We want to find the tension at point P at a distance x from its lower end. Here at this point the tension will be due to the mass of this lower part. So first we have to find the mass of the lower part. For L length, mass is capital M. So for X length, mass will be equal to M by L into X. Here M by L is called linear mass density. If linear mass density of rope is given, then we can write M is equals to lambda X. So the tension force at point P will be M into G, that will be equal to M by L into X into G. Now there is one important term about rope or string, that is called breaking stress or force. Breaking stress or force is the maximum tension force that a string or rope can sustain without breaking. For example, for any rope, the breaking force is 100 Newton. So the rope will not break till the value 100 Newton force is applied. But at the moment 101 Newton force is applied, the string will break. So let us see some examples on breaking stress or breaking force of a string. So now let us see the problems of rope and monkey that are based on the breaking stress or breaking force of the rope. Here one monkey of mass M is hanging from a rope which has breaking stress of F. But here we have considered that this rope is massless for our simplicity. Now, first case, when the monkey is at rest. When monkey is at rest, the tension force on the string will be equal to the weight of the monkey. So the tension force will be equal to M into G. Here, for not breaking the string, the condition is mg should be less than F. So the weight of monkey should be less than the breaking force. Now the second case, the monkey is accelerating up with acceleration A1. Here the monkey is accelerating up with acceleration A1. To make this situation simpler, we will make the acceleration of this monkey 0. For that, we have to apply same acceleration in opposite direction. So we are applying A1 acceleration in downward direction. So now net acceleration of the monkey is 0. But in this case, the net downward acceleration will be G and A1. So the net force acting on the monkey in downward direction will be M into G plus A1. So this will be the tension force. For the string not to break, the tension force should be less than the breaking force. So M into G plus A1 should be less than the breaking force. Here in this case, the tension force is more compared to rest mode. As we can see, when the monkey was at rest, the tension force was mg. When monkey is accelerating up, the tension force is more. So when it is accelerating up, the tension force is more. Now, in the second case, the monkey is accelerating down with acceleration A2. Monkey is moving downwards with acceleration A2. Again, to simplify the equations, we will make acceleration of the monkey to be 0. For that, we have to apply same amount of acceleration in the opposite direction. So we will apply A2 in upward direction. Because of this, again A net will be 0. But in this case, the accelerations on monkey will be G in downward direction and A2 in upward direction. So net acceleration will be G minus A2. So the tension force will be M into G minus A2. Again, for not breaking the string, tension should be less than the breaking force. Now in this case, the force applied by monkey on the rope is less compared to the rest mode. So if monkey is moving up, then tension force is maximum. When it is at rest, then tension force is lesser, and when monkey is accelerating downward, the acceleration is least. Now, if weight of monkey is greater than the braking force, let's say weight of monkey is 100 Newton, mg is given 100 Newton, and the braking force is 50 Newton. So in this case, if it is at rest, then string will or rope will break because braking force is less than the tension force. So to not break the string, the monkey should move in upward direction. The monkey should move in downward direction with some minimum acceleration. So when mg is greater than braking force, the monkey should move downwards. As it moves in downward direction, the tension force created is less than mg. Let us see one numerical example on that. In this example, the mass of monkey is given 50 kg. Take g is equals to 10 meter per second square. In first case, the braking force of the rope is 600 Newton. What is the maximum acceleration with which it should move upwards or downwards? Here, the weight of monkey is 50 into 10, that is equal to 500 Newton. As weight is less than the braking force, it can be at rest or it can be moving upwards or downwards. But we want to find the maximum acceleration. For maximum acceleration, it should move upward. So let's say it is moving upward with acceleration A. Now, if it is moving upward with acceleration A, then tension force created will be M into G plus A. But the maximum value of this tension force should be equal to 600 Newton. So put the values. This is 50 into G plus A, that is equal to 600. So G plus A will be equal to 12. So A will be 12 minus 10, that is equal to 2 meter per second square. This is the maximum acceleration with which it can move in upward direction. For moving in downward direction, any acceleration is possible. Now, in the second case, the braking force is given 400 Newton. Now, in this case, weight is greater than the braking force. So, if monkey is at rest, then rope will break. So it has to compulsory move, and that too in the downward direction only. So in this case, it can move only in downward direction. Let's say it is moving in downward direction with some acceleration A. In that case, the tension force will be M into G minus A, and that should be equal to at least 600 Newton. Put the value 50 into G minus A is equals to 600. So G minus A is equals to 12. The value of braking force in this case is 400 Newton. So G minus A will be equal to 8. So A is equal to 10 minus 8, that is equal to 2 meters per second square. So this is the minimum value or minimum acceleration. So if weight is less than the braking force, we will find the maximum acceleration, and if weight is greater than braking force, we will find the minimum acceleration. Now let us see the connected motion. Connected motion means when the motion of one object is connected with the motion of other object, that kind of system is called connected motion. We are having some prerequisites over here, or we have made some assumptions for our simplicity. The first is all the surfaces are frictionless. So for initial stage we will take all the surfaces to be smooth. The strings are massless and the pulleys are also massless. The strings are massless, that means the tension force at all points on the string are same. Let us understand the first type of connected motion. This is a simple one. There are two blocks of mass m1 and m2. They are connected by a massless string passing over a frictionless pulley. This pulley is attached to a rigid support. Here it is given that m1 is greater than m2. As this mass is greater, the object m1 will move in downward direction and this m2 will move in upward direction. They both will move together, m1 in downward direction and m2 in upward direction. Here, as this surface is frictionless, if m1 is moving down with acceleration a, then m2 will move up with same acceleration a. Here some tension force is created, let's say it is T. As this string is massless, the tension force at all points will be same. To support the whole system, some force is created in this string, let's say that force is F. We want to find these three quantities, the acceleration, the tension and the force. For that, we will draw the free body diagram of these two blocks m1 and m2. First, let us draw the free body diagram of m1. So we will free this object from this whole system, but we will write all the forces as it is. The force acting on m1 is a gravitational force in downward direction, that is m1g. The tension force due to string is T. The tension force always acts opposite to the object. So the arrow will be in upward direction T. As the result of these two forces, this block M1 moves in downward direction with acceleration E. Now let us draw the free body diagram of this block M2. The gravitational force on M2 in downward direction M2g. Again, the tension force acts in the opposite direction or away from the object, that is T. As the result of these two forces, this object M2 will move in upward direction with acceleration E. If we write the equation for this two objects free body diagram, in this case as object is moving downward, the m1g is greater than t. And in this case, as object is moving upwards, we can say tension force is greater than m2g. So for the first block, the equation will be m1g minus t is equals to m1a. And for the second block, the equation will be t minus m2g will be equal to m2a. Adding this two equation, this t will get cancelled out. So m1 minus m2 into g will be equal to m1 plus m2 into a. We want to find the acceleration. So acceleration will be m1 minus m2 into g upon m1 plus m2. We know that F is equals to ma. So acceleration will be force upon mass. Here in this system, the force responsible for the motion is m1g and m2g. The m1g is acting in downward direction, m2g is also acting in downward direction, but this m2g is opposing the motion and m1g is causing the motion. So F net, if we write A is equals to F net upon total mass, then F net will be m1g minus m2g upon m1 plus m2. These are the same equations. So either we can write from the free body diagram or from the basic formula F net upon total mass. Now once we have found the value of acceleration, put in either of the equation. So we will get tension force is equals to 2 m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 into g. The net force acting in upward direction is F, and that is equal to 2t. So F will be equal to 4 m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 into g. So these are the equations for acceleration, tension and the supporting force for the simple pulley system. Let us see one example on it. In this case, a pulley is hanged with a rigid source. A block of mass m is attached to a string. This string is passed over a pulley and the other end of the string is pulled with a force of 3 mg. We want to find the acceleration of block m. In this case, we cannot use the direct formula A is equals to m1 minus m2g upon m1 plus m2 because there is only one block on the system, so we cannot use this formula. For this case, we have to use the basic formula, that is F net upon total mass. In this case, the total force responsible for the motion is 3 mg and the gravitational force on this object in downward direction, that is mg. The 3 mg is causing the motion and mg is opposing the motion. So F net will be 3 mg minus mg. Now, the most important thing here, the total mass in the system is only m. Don't take this force to be as a mass of 3 mg. The total mass in the system is only m. So simplifying this, E is equal to 2 mg upon m, that is equal to 2g. Now let us see the second type of simple connected motion. In this case, one object of mass m2 is kept on a smooth horizontal table. Remember, this table is smooth. because we have said all the surfaces are frictionless. A string is connected with it. The string is passed over the pulley. Pulley is connected at the edge of the table, and a block of mass m1 is hanging from the pulley. As this surface is smooth, for any value of m1, this m2 will move in this horizontal direction and m1 will move in downward direction. It is not necessary that m1 should be greater than m2. This condition is not required because this surface is smooth. So for even small amount of force, this m2 will start moving because there is no opposing force. Now we want to find the acceleration of the blocks. As the surfaces are smooth, if m1 moves in downward direction with acceleration a, then m2 will also move in horizontal direction with acceleration a. And we want to find the tension force in the string. As string is massless, tension at all the points on the string will be same. Now, we have two methods. We can go by the free body diagram, or we can directly use the formula acceleration is equals to F total upon M total. First, look at the block M2. For the block M2, the gravitational force is acting in downward direction, that is M2g, and normal reaction is acting in upward direction, that is also equal to M2g. So for the block M2, this vertical forces are balanced. So there is no motion along vertical direction. In the horizontal direction, only one force is acting, that is tension force, and tension force is always acting away from the object. And due to this object is moving in this direction with acceleration a. So if we write the equation for the block M2, this 2 will cancel out. So we can write T is equals to M2e. Now, if we draw the free body diagram for this object, then M1, the gravitational force in downward direction is M1g. The tension force away from the object, that is in upward direction, T, and the net acceleration is in downward direction. From this we can say that M1g is greater than tension force. So the equation for this will be M1g minus T is equals to M1a, but T is equals to M2a, so M1g minus M2a is equals to M1e. So acceleration will be M1g upon M1 plus M2. If we choose the formula A is equals to F net upon M total, then also the acceleration, the force on the system responsible for the motion is only M1g. There is no other external forces acting. So F total will be M1g and the total mass of the system is M1 plus M2. So we'll get the same formula. If we put the value of acceleration in this value of tension, then tension force will be M1 M2g upon M1 plus M2. So this is the tension force and this is the acceleration. Now let us see the third type of connected motion. In this case, all the objects are kept on the smooth surface. They are connected by a massless string and one of the object is pulled with the help of string with a horizontal force F. We want to find the tension force in the connecting strings. In this case, first we have to find the acceleration. The acceleration is given by F net upon M total. As these three blocks are part of the same system, they all will have same acceleration. So acceleration will be the net force acting for the motion is F, because the vertical forces will get balanced. So A will be equal to F upon total mass, that is m1 plus m2 plus m3. So all the three blocks will move in this direction with acceleration A. Now one by one we will draw the free body diagram. We can choose any two blocks. I am choosing m3 and m1. So if I draw the free body diagram of m1, then in this direction force F is acting. This is tension force T2, and tension force always acts away from the object. So this is force T2. Under the action of these two forces, this object is moving in right direction with acceleration A. So the equation for this block will be F minus T2 is equals to m1A. Now drawing the free body diagram for m3, there is only one force acting on this, that is equal to tension force T1, and under the action of this force, this block is moving in right direction with acceleration A. So T1 will be equal to m3A. So T1 m3A will be F upon m1 plus m2 plus m3. If we find T2, that will be equal to F minus m1A. So T2 will be equal to F minus m1. A will be F upon m1 plus m2 plus m3. Simplifying this, we will get T2 is equals to m3 plus m2 into F upon m1 plus m2 plus m3. Now let us see some shortcut method to find the tension force. Here first we will write the equation for T1. If we want to find the tension force T1, we have to multiply it with acceleration. So F upon total mass, that is the fixed quantity. So F upon m1 plus m2 plus m3, this is the fixed quantity. Now this tension is created because with the help of this string we want to pull mass of m3. So the mass connected with the tension 1 is m3. So multiply this quantity with m3. This will be tension force T1. Same way, if we want to write tension force T2, again write the force upon total mass, that is m1 plus m2 plus m3. Now this tension force T2 is created because with the help of this string we want to pull these two objects. So total mass we want to pull using this string is m2 plus m3. So multiply this with m2 plus m3. So without drawing free body diagram, we can write the tension forces. Let us see one example on this type. In this case, three blocks of mass 4 kg, 1 kg and 3 kg are connected with the help of a massless string. Now there are two forces acting. One is 20 Newton and another is 100 Newton. We want to find the tension force in the connecting string. In this case, we cannot use the direct formula. In this type of case, compulsory we have to draw the free body diagram. For that, first we will find the acceleration, that is equal to F net upon m total. here the net force on the system is 100 minus 20 and the total mass of the system is 4 plus 3 7 plus 1 8. So acceleration will be 80 by 8, that is equals to 10 meter per second square. Now we will draw the free body diagram of any of the two blocks. Under the action of these two forces, this whole system will move in this direction with acceleration A. I am drawing the free body diagram of 4 kg and 3 kg. You can select any two blocks. For 4 kg objects, remember we have to write the force acting as it is. Do not find the net force and apply 80 Newton over here. We have to write the exact forces, that is 20 Newton in this direction, T1 in this direction, and acceleration in this direction, that is equal to 10. So for this block we can write T1 minus 20 is equals to net force mass into acceleration 4 into 10, that is equal to 40 Newton. So T1 is equals to 20 plus 40, that will be equal to 60 Newton. Now for the object of 3 kg, this is 3 kg, the force in this direction is 100 Newton, force in this direction is T2 and net acceleration is 10 meter per second square. So for this 100 minus T2 will be equal to 30 Newton. 3 into 10, 30 Newton. So T2 will be equal to 100 minus 30, that will be equal to 70 Newton. We can cross verify this. Draw the free body diagram of this 1 kg object. In this direction T2, that is equal to 70 Newton, and in this direction T1, that is equal to 60 Newton. So F net on 1 kg block will be equal to 10 Newton in this direction, and acceleration will be equal to 10 meter per second square, and that is the case. So our method is correct and answer is also correct. Now let us solve one example which is based on a rope. That means we are not having a massless string over here, but we are having a rope. There are two blocks of mass 5 kg and 3 kg. They are connected with a rope of length 1 meter and mass 2 kg. We want to find the distance, we want to find the tension at point P, which is located at a distance of 0.5 meter from the block of mass 5 kg. That means distance from 3 kg will also be 0.5 meter. Now, in this case, we have to assume that the rope has uniform linear mass density. So mass per unit length for this rope is equal. So we can replace this rope by a block of length 0.5 meter. Now for the length of 1 meter, mass is 2 kg. So for the length of 0.5 meter, the mass will be 1 kg. So this is the block of 5 kg and it is connected with a block of 1 kg. Now this is a block of 3 kg and this side rope is replaced by another 1 kg block, and these two blocks are connected with a massless string and point P. The adhesive force is given in this direction as Newton. We want to find the tension at this point. For that, first we will find the acceleration of the system. The force is 10 Newton. The acceleration is net force upon total mass. The force responsible for the motion is 10 Newton. The total mass of the system is, this is 6 kg and this is 4 kg, that will be equal to 10 kg. So acceleration is 1 meter per second square. This two can be taken as a single block of mass 6 kg. So drawing the free body diagram of this, the total mass is 6 kg. The force acting in this direction is tension force, and due to the action of this force, this block is moving with acceleration 1 meter per second square. So T will be equal to 6 into 1, that is equal to 6 Newton. So if the rope with some mass is given, then it can be divided into two parts and it can be considered as a block. Now let us see some difficult free body diagrams. When there are multiple objects placed on each other and they do not move relative to each other, then we can always treat them as a single object for the purpose of drawing free body diagram. While drawing the combined FBD, the internal force between the objects are not shown. The internal forces between the objects are not shown. For the given system, we want to find the free body diagram. Here, this is the system. There are three blocks, MA, MB and MC. If we draw this free body diagram according to the surface, then this whole block system will be considered as total mass of MA, MB and MC. So this whole system will apply a downward direction force, that is gravitational force, of MA plus MB plus MC into G. And the same amount of force is applied by the surface on the system, that is on the surface of this mass MA. So the normal reaction will also be MA plus MB plus MC into G. Now, let's say this is block ME. If we draw its free body diagram, the force in downward direction is MAG. In upward direction, force acting is normal reaction, and on the upper surface, the force due to these two blocks will also act. Let's say that force is N1. For the block B, the gravitational force is in downward direction, that is MBG. The force applied by these two blocks on the surface of A is N1. The same amount of force is applied by this surface of MA on MB. So this normal reaction is also NA. On the surface, upper surface of MB, the force is applied by MC, let's say that is N2. And the force acting on MC is only a gravitational force and the normal reaction on the MC. So N2 can be written as, it is just the force acting on MC by the block MB. That will be equal to the weight of MC. So N2 will be equal to MCG. Now, we want to find the normal reaction on this. The value of N1 will be MC plus MB into G, because the force applied on the upper surface of block A is the total gravitational force of MB and NC. So normal reaction will also be the total gravitational force of MB and MC. So N1 will be equal to MC plus MB into G. This can be written as MC into G plus MB G. So N1 will be equal to N2 plus MB G. N2 is MC G. Now N. N is the total MA plus ME plus MC into G. Now, let us see the constraint relations. In a mechanical systems, due to the nature of connections, the motion of sum of parts of a system automatically governs the motion of other parts. An equation representing such dependence is called the constraint equation. In this case, in given system, the pulleys are massless and frictionless and the string is massless. In the system, the block B is moving with an upward acceleration A. We want to find the acceleration of block capital A. Here, let's say the tension in this string is T. So the tension over here will be equal to 2T. As this length cannot change, same 2T tension is transferred over here. So if A is moving upward with acceleration A, then capital A will move downward with acceleration 2A. To solve this kind of problems, we will use a method called rope length method. So let us see one example to understand the method. So now let us learn the method, that is rope length method. There are some steps for this method. Let us go through the steps one by one and then we will solve the problem. First is identify the number of moving objects or moving bodies. If two bodies are moving together, they should be considered as a single body. Remember, if two bodies are moving together, that means if they are having same acceleration, then they are considered as a single body. The next step is identify a steady point on each moving body. Usually, the end point of a rope or center of a pulley. For example, in this case, if we are studying about point this, then this is center point of pulley. If there is some free end of the rope, for example, this point or some free point, we have to fix one steady point about which we will consider the changing length of rope. The third point is choose a reference line or lines and show the coordinate of each steady point. For example, in this case, we have drawn this reference line, and with the reference line, we have to show the position of our steady point. Generally, reference line is a line passing through center of a fixed pulley. So from a given system, there will be some pulleys which will be moving and some of them will not be moving. So usually the reference line is taken as the line passing through the center of a fixed pulley. The next step is establish the constraints equation in terms of coordinates of steady point using the fact that ropes have constant length. Here, one thing is to keep in mind that pulleys can move upward and downward, blocks can move upward and downward, but the length of the string or the rope will remain constant. Now, once you have written the constraint equation, then if you differentiate it with respect to time once, then we will get the velocity, and if you differentiate it twice, then we will get the acceleration relation between the velocity and acceleration. So after understanding these steps, let us apply them. Let us solve the equation. Here in this equation, there are two pulleys. Let's say this is first pulley and this is second pulley. A block of A and B are connected. Let's say this point is C1, this is C3 and this is C2. In this case, let us say this A block is moving upward. For now we are assuming that this A block is moving upward. So if this block is moving upward, this part of the length will decrease. This part which is passing over the pulley will be constant. So this C1 and C3, C2 will be constant. Now this increased length is passed over here, so this length will increase. Here this point is fixed, so this point cannot come down, so the pulley will come down due to the increased length. So if X is moved upward by distance X, this E is moved upward by distance X, the pulley will come downward by distance 2x. Understand? Because at this point there is a loosening of string, and that is 2 times the decrease in length. So if we write the constraint equation, first we have to write the lengths. We have chosen the reference line. This is a fixed pulley and this is a moving pulley. We have just said that generally reference line is a line passing through the center of fixed pulley. So we have taken this line as a reference line. The distance of E from this reference line is XE, and distance of B from this reference line is XB. So this length is XE, this length is C1, XE plus C1. This length is XB, this much length, and this much length is also XB. So plus 2XB plus C2 plus this much length is C3 is equals to constant. Now this length will not change as this pulley is fixed and this is tied at a rigid point. This length will not change. C1 and C2 will also not change. So C1, C2 and C3 are constant. So we can write XE plus 2XB plus C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equals to constant. This constant plus constant will be equal to some other constant C. So we can write XE is equals to 2XB. Now differentiating with respect to time twice, we will get acceleration. But as this is constant, its differentiation will be 0. So d square by dt square of xe plus 2xb will be equal to 0. D square by dt square of xa, that is the acceleration of block A, is equals to minus of twice the acceleration of block B. In the question, it is given that the block B is moving downward with acceleration A. So capital E block will move upward with acceleration 2A. Here the negative sign of A is taken because the block is moving downward, and we have taken the downward direction as negative y-axis, that is negative, and upward direction as positive. As the acceleration of A block is positive, it will be moving upwards. This will move with upwards with direction to A. So this is the manner in which you can write the constraint equations and solve the combined pulley problems. In the constraint equations, we have just seen that the length of the string will remain constant. That is, the velocity along the string or the stick will always remain constant. For example, in this case, there are different points on a root stick. At point A, the velocity of this point is VA, making an angle theta with the stick. The velocity of this point, velocity VB, is in this direction, making an angle alpha with the root stick. And the point C, velocity is VC, making an angle alpha with the roots, making the angle phi with the root stick. Now, if we write the component of velocity along the stick, so this component will be VA cos theta, this component will be VB cos alpha, and this component will be VC sin phi. So VA cos theta will be equal to VB cos alpha will be equal to VC cos phi. So velocity along any fixed length component will be constant. Let us see one example on that. Here, a smooth surface and there is a smooth wall. A stick is kept on rest on this point. This angle is 60 degree and this angle is 30 degree. This point of contact is B and this point of contact is A. The B point is moving along the horizontal line with speed 2 meters per second. We want to find the velocity of point A with which it will move in downward direction, vertically downward direction. Let's say it is moving with speed VA in vertically downward direction. As just we have said, the velocity along the length will be constant. So this component of velocity will be VA cos 30 degree, as this angle is 30, and this component will be VA cos 60 degree. So VB cos 60 degree will be equal to VA cos 30 degree. So 2 into cos 60 will be equal to VA cos 30 degree. So VA will be equal to 2 by root 3. So here the key concept we have used is that the velocity along the string or the stick will always remain constant.